and Storm at Bankwest. So in Sydney, it forecast is it for Noah to park his Ark somewhere on the M4. It's going to have it's been raining quite heavily here at Penrith. It's going to hammer down. I think there's 20 to 40 mil tomorrow, 20 to 40 mil
persistently
all the way through to Sunday. Cricket finals are washed out. Golden Slip is going to be a heavy track, all that sort of thing. And so wet weather footy, which Toto mentioned is an issue for Parramatta.
Yep.
Nakore comes back for Hipgrave to be mushed and even pushed to the reserves. Storm are unchanged from their outing last week. Barney, how are you approaching the game?
Mate, if Parramatta turn up in that first half the way they did against the Broncos, they could be behind by 40 coming into half-time.
Yep.
So key matchups are the halves and the hookers. There's question marks around, obviously, the Eels halves out of the way that they came into last week. Not a lot of question marks about the Storm halves. Munster was quiet, and so was Jerome Hughes, but we know what they've got to offer, which is, at their best, decidedly more than what the Parramatta halves have. The hookers should be a pretty good matchup. Cheese and Mahoney, they're going to go at it. They're both representative hookers, and that could be a determining factor in this game. Back row could be considered close if they both aim up at their best, but I don't think it will be.
Not if they're on the wrong side of the field.
Parramatta might actually have the edge on the bench, to be honest. I think Melbourne Storm's bench is a little bit weaker than it has been recently, but I'm still going to go with Melbourne 13+. I don't think the Storm drop off at the back end of the game like they did last week. I think they're going to push this one to the end because they're up against someone that's considered a top 8 contender, and I think that
they were last
they're just going to win 13+. So no, but I don't think they're going to pay the respect to Parramatta the way that they did with Souths, because they tried to grind that game out rather than just going, no, we're too good for you blokes.
I still think they're 2 weeks underdone too.
Yeah, so I've got Melbourne 13+, Justin Olam first try scorer, and Munster man of the match.
Very good. Ollie boy?
I've got Melbourne winning this one 13+. I feel like it'll be like last week in many ways. I genuinely think Melbourne will be up about 24-0 at half-time. They'll let Para get back into it a little bit, but I think Melbourne will put more points on in the second half. I can see something like a 36-10 where Para look all right for a while in the second half, but like Melbourne are just going to dominate them, I think, well and truly.
Yeah, GT is keeping spreadsheets. He's very specific about we need to give
first try man of the
first try man. And shout out to GT, I haven't given him a shout out, but good man. He's going to keep track of all our prognostications this year, so the Oracle better finish first. And we'll get him on a show round 26. He can read it out. That'll be a bit of fun.
Okay, I'll go man of the match Munster. I'll go first try scorer Justin Olam.
I want to. I think they're going to. I agree with you. They're going to put Para on show this week. Absolutely, they're going to. The litmus test will be up, and they will fall short. For me, everything you've said is right. I'm going to say Storm by 18. Christian Welsh, man of the match. I think he might step up and just dominate a good on paper forward pack, but just I really love his leadership at the moment. First try scorer, and we didn't mention it in our reviews, the Fox just turning around the big QE2 on the wing there, Sivo. Isn't he? We didn't talk about it in the review, but isn't he well and truly exposed now?
Yeah, I think so.
Just kick behind, turn him around.
Pull him
come back, a little Munster grabber through the line, and Fox beating him to the punch. For me,
just to butt in about Sivo, I remember back when Brad Arthur was like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing." You know, when he came into training, it was like semi-ride rider. We literally taught him to grab the ball, run as hard as he can, and put it down at the end. So it seems as soon as Brad Arthur said that, teams went, oh, okay, so you've not actually taught him how to play football. Let's expose all the weaknesses he has.
And pick it up.
Like, literally, that's what's happened, and that's what Parramatta get for doing that, I guess.